I'm going to show you guys how I made this gorgeous jerk chicken and pork belly casserole with cinnamon rice and butter beans. Doesn't it make your mouth water? So I decided to go with this dish because with my last cooking video, a lot of the comments that I received back was, well, that's not really cooking, and can you actually cook, and all these type of comments like that. So if you really want me to go in with the cooking, today I went in with the cooking. I was trying to like slow you guys in and show you little pieces, but you really want me to go hard with the cooking. So here you go. First thing that you're going to do is lay out all your ingredients. I've listed in the description box below all the ingredients that are needed to make this recipe. So the first thing that we're going to do is take the pork belly, and we're just going to take it out of the packaging and rinse it thoroughly with water and then prepare to season it. So I'm going to season the pork belly with pork seasoning, and then we're just going to add some salt, and then we're just going to sprinkle some paprika seasoning just to give it that extra kick. The next seasoning that we're going to add is thyme. Now we're going to jerk up this pork belly and add some jerk seasoning to it. And then we're going to grab a spoon and take the liquid jerk seasoning and tip half of the contents into the bowl with the pork belly. Now we're just going to make sure that we're actually mixing the seasoning with the pork belly, and we're just going to make sure that it's seeping into the pork belly. A tip that I usually like to do is I like to pierce whatever meat I'm seasoning with a fork to ensure that it's really seeped in. And I usually like to season my meat from the night before so that all the flavour is locked in, but I didn't actually have time. Now we're moving on to seasoning the chicken, and we're just going to season it in the same manner that we did the pork belly. We're going to season it with jerk chicken seasoning, salt, thyme, paprika and chicken seasoning. The only thing that we're going to do differently is we're going to add bay leaves to the chicken. So I've added my bay leaves, and then I'm just going to mix all the seasoning that I've put in the chicken and just make sure it seeps in the chicken, and then also piercing the chicken with a fork to make sure that the flavour sinks in. We're going to leave this chicken to sit for an hour so that it can seep in properly. So now we're going to take olive oil, and we're just going to glaze the casserole dish with the olive oil. Just going to put the casserole dish in the oven on gas mark 3. And we're just going to leave the casserole dish in the oven for about 5 minutes so the oil can warm up. 5 minutes has passed and the casserole dish is all warmed up. So we're just going to add the seasoned pork belly and the chicken to the casserole dish. And then we're going to place the casserole dish back into the oven and let it sit there for about an hour and a half. So while we're waiting for the meat to cook, let's start on the vegetables. So first we're going to take carrots, and we're going to take about 4 carrots and cut them into small pieces. And then we're going to do the same with parsnips. We're going to cut them into smaller pieces. Now these are the vegetable choices that I chose, but you can always choose your favourite vegetable choices instead. So next I've chosen sweet potato, and I'm just going to take the skin off and cut them into smaller pieces. I absolutely love mushrooms, so it was no brainer that mushrooms were going to be a part of this casserole. So I just cut these mushrooms into half and added them. So then I cut up some onion, and the trick is to put a silver spoon in your mouth so that you don't end up crying like a baby. So next I cut up some peppers. I cut up a yellow pepper, an orange pepper and a red pepper. And we're not going to use the whole pepper, we're just going to cut like 1/4 of the pepper and then cut them into smaller pieces. So now we need to make the casserole sauce. So we're just going to take the bowl that we used to season the pork belly and the chicken, as it has some leftover seasoning, and we're just going to add a can of chopped tomatoes to it. And then we're going to add the tomato puree, and we're just going to mix it all together with a spoon so it forms the stew for the casserole. Still got some time while we're waiting for the meat to cook, so we're just going to leave this stew to one side while we wait for the meat to cook. So an hour and a half has passed, so it's time to add the vegetables and the stew to the casserole dish. And look at that chicken, how amazing does it look? It literally looks like amazing. So we're just going to transfer the vegetables from the bowl into the casserole dish. Now I realized at this point that my casserole dish was quite small, which was quite silly. But anyway, we're just going to add the sauce that we also left aside on top of the vegetables. So let's get started on the rice. So I've chosen Basmati rice, but I actually used long grain rice in the end because literally every family member wanted to eat some of this dish. So firstly, you're going to select your desired amount of rice and pour it into a pot. And then you're going to add water and bring it to a bowl. Please remember that rice grows, so don't fill it all the way to the top. Maybe fill it 3/4 of the way to the top. Once the water has boiled, we're just going to place the pot into the sink and we're just going to wash the rice with cold water to get out any dirt from the rice. We're then going to bring the pot back to the stove and add fresh water to it. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon powder and add it to the rice. And then we're going to add coconut milk. I chose this one from Tropical Sun, but there's many varieties, so you can choose the carton or the can, and you just need to add it to the rice. Then we're going to add a can of butter beans. Now you don't have to have beans with your rice, I just like the taste of it. You can have kidney beans or you can have another alternative, or you can just not have it. Of course, you need to add salt, and add the salt to your desired taste because some people like more salt than others. And then we're just going to sprinkle some olive oil on the rice just so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. So then we're going to take a large spoon and mix that all together. Make sure you're taking the spoon from the bottom right to the top so that all the product we just added can be mixed in well. Then I take a large piece of foil and cover the pot up with foil. I feel like the rice steams better when there's a foil covering it. Now for the dumplings. So I already went ahead and did them, but all you need to do is take some cornmeal and add some cold water to it, mix it and then roll it into a ball. So then we're going to get a new pot and add olive oil, cinnamon powder and salt. Just going to mix all of this together, and then we're going to add the cornmeal ball dumplings and we're just going to let them boil. We're probably going to let them boil for about 15 minutes. So it's been 2 hours and a half and finally the casserole is ready. I should have used a bigger dish, but by the time I realized it was already cooking, so what the hell. But I'm ready for this casserole. So we're just going to take some fresh spinach and place it on the top and then cover it with the lid and let that steam for about 10 minutes more. The spinach finally steamed. It's now time to enjoy the food. So I'm just going to serve it with the rice that I made earlier and with the dumplings. And it is amazing. Look at the food. It looks good. It smells good. It tastes good. And yeah, I really enjoyed making this. You can always send me a message through my Instagram, or you can leave a comment below on what you would like to see me cooking. Like I said previously, a lot of people were like, oh, you're not really cooking anything major. So I was like, okay, I'm going to cook something major for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember guys, to always stay bougie. Plus, you can follow me on my other social media platforms. See you later.